Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Anisa Puspadewi. I'm in the XN class, Magister Pendidikan Bahasa Inggris, Fakultas Pascasarjana Unindra. I make this video for fulfilling the final exam of the academic speaking for scientific purposes subject. Today, let me deliver to you the fun and engaging ways to learn teaching reading aloud to the young learners. All right, everybody, let me introduce the outlines to you. The first one, I would like to deliver the learning objectives. And the second one, I would like to address the understanding young learners and the overview of TPR and IBL, which will be combined into this reading aloud section. And the last one is integrating the TPR and IBL in one lesson. All right. I would love to deliver why reading aloud matters in EFL for young learners. Learning objective of this topic, how the reading aloud is really important to our students. The first one is the pronunciation. The students learn pronunciation from the teacher directly, and it also helps to develop the students' accurate pronunciation skills. But please take note that teachers must make sure that the teacher's pronunciations have to be proper first. We have to pronounce the words properly. We have to check our pronunciations first too. And then the second one, intonation. Engaging stories improve understanding of intonation nuances. With our intonation, the students can be engaged into the stories, into the subject of the text really well. And then the third one is the vocabulary. The exposure to the vast vocabulary enhances language acquisition for the students. We know that more vocabulary that the students have, the more they can speak, the more they can interact and communicate in English. And then the most important one is the emotional connection between teacher and the students. We know that stories create strong emotional bonds with the language. We can make language is not too distant to the learners. We can make the stories close to them, and this will bring the emotional connection from the students with the materials or with the language itself. And then I would like to give the characteristic of young learners and implications. The first characteristic of the young learners is they learn through movement. We know that the young learners is very kinesthetic. They they always move, they always play, and their movement and play are integral. So we have to incorporate their physical action during reading sessions, which is enhancing their engagement and reinforce language comprehension through their kinesthetic learning. And also we know that the young learners are having short attention spans. Due to their developing cognitive abilities, young learners typically have short attention spans. So by reading aloud with intonation and gestures, we can make sure that students can engage and can be interested in our materials. And we know that the characteristic of the children are also holistic learning. Young learners benefit from a holistic approach that connects mind, body, and emotion. Reading aloud should engage these aspects using stories, visuals, and also meaningful connections. And they are also responsive to stories. Children are naturally responsive to stories. They also express their emotions, and they also express their curiosity, creating interactive reading experiences with relatable content. And I would like to tell you that using and combining TPR and IBL is also can be fun, can be meaningful for the students, for the young learners to learn the reading text aloud. Before we go further, I'm going to use the total physical response, which is called TPR. TPR combines language learning with physical movement, allowing young learners to respond to commands through actions, which enhances understanding and reduces anxiety while acquiring new vocabulary. Acquiring new vocabulary can be fun through reading aloud, through the expressions, through the emotions that the teacher delivers through the reading stories. And also, this is the definition of IBL. IBL is inquiry based learning. IBL encourages curiosity and exploration, where students ask questions and engage with content, fostering their deeper understanding through discussions and interactive activities that motivate learning and critical thinking. So, if we combine these two methods, we are going to make a learning fun. Okay, so this is the TPR activities that we can use in reading aloud. The first one is acted out reading. Teacher reads while students act out. So teachers read the story, the students can express their imagination through actions. Number two is action word freeze. Students can freeze and repeat on cue. Number three, sound and motion echo. Students mimic sentences with gestures. In here, students directly understand what the story means, what the sentences mean to them by together mimicking sentences with their gestures and with their body language. And three of the IBL activities that we can use in this reading aloud to make the learning fun is the first one, picture prediction reading. We can discuss with the students about the pictures of the book to predict the story events before we read the text to them. And then the second one is question detective. We can listen, they can listen and answer guided comprehension questions. And then the third one is wonder wall. They can share curiosities through drawings and words. By combining TPR, the total physical response, and inquiry-based learning, we can make a fun learning environment, which is effectively facilitating the TPR and IBL activities. They can also model enthusiasm and keep instructions clear, encourage participation through interactive storytelling and playful movement, ensuring a supportive learning environment. We can make text fun for the students. We can make the text imaginable for the students, and we can make the learning environment fun and not scary to the young learners to learn English. This is the sample of the lesson integration. The first one, as the teacher, we can use the warm-up to begin with the TPR action songs. In here, the teacher must choose the proper or the most suitable action songs from any sources, from YouTube or any kind of sources. We can choose the most related or the closest vocabularies that will be used in the topic of the reading aloud itself. And then the second one, we can do the pre-reading prediction. We can discuss pictures and predict story elements. Before we go to the storytelling, we can do the pre-reading prediction, how students discuss pictures with each other, how they express their imagination with the teacher on what will happen next from the text, from the pictures of the book. We can also discuss the color, why the color is red, why the color is blue, and the students are allowed to predict using their curiosity. And the third one, we can go to the reading aloud itself. Teacher reads with engaging actions. The storyteller, the teacher must use intonation, body gestures, and the students can also do the TPR, total physical response, to make them understand deeper about the topic of the text. Afterwards, we can review and assess our students indirectly using the observation checklist, We can use a sample or we can use a simple checklist to note students' participation and engagement during the reading activities. We can focus on their physical responses, verbal participation, and overall enthusiasm for the session. And then the second one, we can also see the students' participation and we can take note on how they involve through action and responses, how actively they engage with reading material, and how they contribute to discussions. All right, and number three is answering questions. We can assess the students by posing questions during and after the reading sessions. And it allows students too to demonstrate their understanding of the story. Does that make sense to them, or do they understand, or whether they understand the story or not? We can check by posing some questions during or after the reading itself. This will also encourage the critical thinking and language development for them. And then the fourth one, retelling with gestures. We can have the students retell the story using gestures and movement, reinforcing their memory of the content while integrating physical expression to support language acquisition and recall. By doing this, we can know how our students understand the topic of the text and how they can use the language itself with their body, with the gesture, which is hopefully make them really comprehend, to make the material really comprehensible to the children's real world. Hopefully, by doing this, students can act, students can use, and students can apply the language that they acquire during the reading section. And that's all. In here, I would like to persuade all the listeners to apply this fun learning of the reading aloud itself using the TPR and IBL. The reading aloud can be so fun and can be so meaningful for the young learners. That's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time.